Hey, welcome back to the Crabby Dice. Today we're going to be looking at Rialto, which is a much lighter style Stefan Feld game. The game is really themeless. It's more of an area majority game where you're going to be putting out your councilman on the game board in area majority fashion to score the most points possible. So this is the rules and setup breakdown video. Click on the link below if you want to see my review and the full playthrough. And of course, before we start, three things. Please like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube channel. That would be fantastic. Let's get started. Alright, welcome to the Rialto setup. So put out your game board. We're going to get through this as quick as possible. You're going to take out your two district bonuses. They always start in every game in their two respective spots. Next, you got your district location. Just give it a good shuffle and just place one on the colored side up in every single district. If you like, you can place the black current district marker on the number 1 space. Okay, next we're going to deal with the gondolas and the bridges. So the gondolas, they're all the same. You have 6 of them. Just put them all on the gondola space. For the bridges, it's a little different. They're actually different on the other side. Okay, so what you're going to do is put them face down and give it a good shuffle. Flip over the first one and then place it on the bridge space right next to it. Alright, next we're going to deal with the buildings. There are 12 different buildings in the game. So you're going to have to separate them all and then place them by color and then by number going up. So there's green, yellow, and blue buildings, and then you're gonna have row 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's basically the cost of the building as well. So you're gonna have 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. Okay, now let's look at the player pieces. So first, put one of your markers on the 3 space of the point track. So we're all gonna start at 3 points. Let's deal with the Doge track here. So you're going to place them in turn order. So the first player is going to be on top, then second, then third, then fourth, and fifth if you're playing 5 players. And then you're going to place it on the Doge track. The councilman for all the players will go into this little depot area, and each player is going to start with 5. Let's go look at the player's board here. So everybody's going to get a player board. These are the 5 council member I just explained. Now, for the coins. There's a general rule that the first player is always going to start with 1 coin and the last player is going to start with 3 coins. Anyone in between is going to get 2 coins. So if you're playing 3 players, the second player gets 2 coins. If you're playing 4 players, the second and third player get 2 coins, and so on and so on. This rule doesn't really apply if you're playing 2, but I would suggest not to play this game at 2. All right. And lastly, we need to draft our first building. So in reverse turn order, you're each going to take a level 1 building. If you're playing 2 or 3 players, no 2 players can have the same color building. If you're playing 4 and 5, at most 2 of the same buildings could get chosen. All right. So if you're playing 5 players, 2 players can take the blue building, and then nobody else will be able to take the blue building, and so on and so on. All right. I am simulating a 3-player game here. So let's say yellow took the blue building, and then let's say green took the green building. Then red would have absolutely no choice but to take the yellow building. All right. These will go in one of your building slots here. And now we're ready to go. So let's go to the rules. Alright, the rules overview for Rialto. So this is mostly an area majority game. Alright, as you can see, there are going to be 6 different districts on the game board. And we're going to be trying to place our councilmen in each of these districts to score points. The gondolas and the bridges connected to the districts will tell you the point value for all the districts. So as the game evolves, each district will either score more or less points depending on what's being placed around the game board, and the players are going to be making those decisions. Okay, so everything has a sort of ripple effect starting from the first round. Okay, how the game works though is the game's going to last 6 total rounds every single time. That's because we're going to be sort of activating each district one at a time. So the highest value is 6, so that's when you know the game's going to end. And in each of those rounds, we're going to be doing the exact same 3 phases. So as you can see here on the game board, there's 3 phases. So the first phase is going to be grabbing our cards. The second phase is using the cards. And the third phase is just activating your blue buildings. All right, then you're going to sort of do a reset and then just do the exact same thing until you've done all 6 rounds. All right, let's go into each of those phases in detail, and then I'm going to explain all the cards and then the scoring, and you should get the gist of the game in no time. All right, so the first phase every single round is indicated here, and that's the drafting of your card phase. Before you even get to that though, the first thing we just need to do is move the district marker from district to district. So at the start of the game, it's going to start at number 1, but in round 2 it'll go to 2 and then 3, and this is going to also be our round tracker. When it reaches 6, it'll be the last round of the game. Okay, and now we're going to have to set out our packs of cards. I'm going to call them packs of cards, and each pack is always equal to 6 cards. Okay, and you're going to lay out the number of packs equal to the number of players plus 1. So this is simulating a 3-player game where I'm going to put out 4 packs. If you're playing 4, you're going to have 5 packs. And if you're playing 5 players, you're going to have 6 packs of 6 cards each. Alright, now we're going to be drafting a pack, and you're going to be doing that in the Doge track order. Alright, so at the start of the game, there's a simple order here, but later on in the game, we're going to be changing the order, and you'll just follow the order on the track. Okay, so let's say in this example, red would go first. Let's say he really wanted this one, he'll take it. Now, whenever you take a pack, you're always going to take 2 blind cards off the top of the deck and add it to your hand. So I'll take these 2 and add it to my hand. You can look at your hand. Then the next player is going to go. Let's say green's interested in this pack, so he's going to take this one. Again, adding 2 cards. And finally yellow, let's just say he took this one. And we'll give him 2 more cards. Okay. We're almost done this phase. The only thing you need to do is discard down to your hand limit. Alright, so by default it's 7. Alright, so at the start of the game you have 8 cards. You're going to have to discard 1 card. But there are ways in this game to increase your hand size, especially with the green buildings. So the green buildings are only ever used during the first phase, and we're going to talk about that during the buildings later on in this video. Okay, but at the start of the game it is 7, so I'm going to have to discard a card. Now the game does say to put have each player have their own discard pile, but I find that's a useless rule. Just have a common discard pile and have everyone dump their cards in there. That's totally fine. Alright, once everyone's done that, then you're pretty much ready to go to the next phase. All you have to do is really discard this pack that nobody had taken into the discard, and then you're ready to go to phase 2. Alright, before talking about phase 2, I'm just going to focus a little on the Doge track because it's important to understand what it represents in this game. The Doge track is the tiebreaker for literally everything that happens in this game. So when you're going to be playing cards in the second phase, always keep in mind, if there's a tie, look at the Doge track. Doge track is going to break the tie. Later on, when we need to score during phase 3 or at endgame, again, look at the Doge track, it's going to break all the ties. So whenever there's a tie or any question about rules and who goes first, just look at the Doge track and follow that order. Alright, so the second phase of every round is the playing of the cards phase, which is the cards that we got in phase 1. So that's the section number 2 that we see down here on the board. A couple of things to note is you're resolving the cards always in the exact order depicted on the board. So it's going to be Doge, money, building, so on and so on until the Venetia cards. Okay, and whoever played the most of every single type is going to get a bonus. Now, because of the influence of wild cards and special buildings that can increase the number of cards you have of a specific type, during this phase, you're not all going to be playing your cards at the same time. You're going to actually go in turn order. All right, I'm going to show you with an example in a couple of seconds, but it's very important to do it that way because you can decide whether you want to use your buildings or wild cards when it comes to your turn, depending on how many of that card everyone else has played. Okay, so just to show you with an example, let's say at the start of phase 2 we need to play Doge cards. So red is first player, you're going to follow the Doge track order just for the first card. So red could play 1. You don't have to play a card or all the cards of that type. You might have to keep some if you want to transform them with some of the buildings, and you might have none of that card, so in that case you'll play 0. Okay, so there you go. So I'll play 1. Let's say green played 1, and then yellow, because he noticed that both of us played 1, he might have played 1 plus a joker. See, that's why you go in turn order, because that's when he'll decide when to use a joker. Now joker, very important, you can attach it to another card. You can never play a joker by itself. Okay, so in this example, I would have a Doge card value of 2, and this would be illegal. Alright, and then yellow would get a bonus. We'd all perform that action, so the Doge track, I'll explain all the actions in a couple of seconds, but the Doge track is moving up that track. Okay, and then you'll move on to the next type of card. Now, after the first card, the way the turn order works is the person who gained the bonus for the previous card is going to be the start player to play the next type of card. So now because yellow won the bonus for the Doge chart, they would be the first player to play the gold cards. Okay, let's say he had none. Then let's say I wanted to win this one, so I would play 2. And then green maybe would play 1. And then I would win the bonus for the gold cards. Now because I won the bonus, when we start the building cards, I would be first player. So let's say I play 1, so on and so on, until all 6 different types of cards were used. All right, just as a general reminder, during this whole phase, that's when you're using your yellow buildings. That's why you see the yellow building sign here. Okay, now let's go through all the different types of cards, what they actually do for the game board, for yourself, and what you get as a bonus. Small clarification, I had mentioned that you can't play jokers by themselves, but if you don't have any of that card, you can discard 2 jokers to represent one of that type of card. All right, so let's say I didn't have any money signs, I could discard 2 jokers to represent 1 money card. All right, let's go through each of the different type of cards and show you what they do. So the first one are the Doge cards. These ones are pretty easy. You're gonna just move yourself up on the Doge track. So these are always gonna be played in turn order. So you're gonna go in the current order of the Doge track. So let's say I had 1 and I'm first player. I would go 1. Let's say green played 1, he would go 1. And let's say yellow played 2, he would move up 2. Now the bonus for the person who played the most goes up an extra spot. So let's say yellow played 2, they would go an extra spot. Then we all toss our cards into the discard. The next card to talk about is the money. So it's pretty simple. You're just gonna get a coin from the general supply for every card that you played. So let's say I played 1, let's say green played 1, let's say yellow played 2. The bonus for playing the most is you get an extra coin. So they'll get 2 coins. The next card to talk about here is the buildings. So for this, what you're gonna do is you're going to take another building from the supply equal to the number of cards played. Okay, so let's say I only played 1 card, I will get a level 1 building. If I play 2 cards, I'll get a level 2, level 3, and level 4 cards, level 4. Remember, jokers count, so if I played 3 building cards and a joker, I'll still get a level 4. And the bonus for playing the most is you add a +1 to that value. So let's say I had 3, and nobody had more than 3, I would actually take a level 4 card because it's 3 + 1. After you take the token or the building, you add it to your player board. Alright, on any free spot. The next card to talk about are the bridges. Okay, these are straight up victory points. So if I play 2 cards, I'll gain 2 points. And if I played 1 card, I'll get 1 point. Now, if you don't play any bridge cards, you actually lose a point. So let's say I played 1, green played 0, and yellow played 1. Green will go down a point because he didn't play 1, and both red and yellow go up a point. Now, whoever played the most is going to get to put out the next bridge token. So these are the ones that are actually going to dictate what the point value for every district is. So they're going to take the bridge token, and they're going to place it on any of the outlined white spaces on the board. So let's say he wanted to put it here for whatever odd reason. Maybe he had councilman here or over here. All right, and at the end of the game, as you can see, this district here would have a starting value of 6 plus what other values are depicted on the bridges and gondolas around that district. Okay, throw this in the discard. The next card to talk about is the gondola. So for this one, what you're going to do is for every card played, you're going to take one of your councilmen from the general supply and add it to your personal supply. So let's say I only played 1. I'm going to take one of these councilmen and add it to my personal supply. The person who played the most is now going to put out the bridge. Okay, so the way this works is they get to put one of these 1-1 bridges. Again, sorry, these are gondolas, exactly just like the bridges on any of the spots. Okay. They also get to take one of their councilmen from the general supply, not your personal supply, and add it to one of those districts. So let's say red won, let's say he put their token there. Okay, if you do run out of councilmen in the general supply, whether it's by bringing it to your personal supply or by putting it on the board, you just get a point for each councilman you were gonna take. So let's say I had no more councilmen here and I played 3 gondolas, I would get 3 points, and if that was the most, I would gain even an extra point when I had to put the gondola token on the board. Alright, and the last card to talk about is the Venetia cards. So this is where we're actually going to be placing our councilmen on the board. So what you're going to do is, for each card played, you're going to take one of your councilmen from your personal supply. So let's say I only play 1. And you're going to put it in the current district number. So you're going to always look at the black pawn and you're going to add it to that district. Obviously the bonus for playing the most is adding an extra one. So let's say 1 was the most, I would add an extra token. And that's pretty much the order and the resolution for every single card in the game. Phase 3 is really simple. That's the phase over here, and all you're gonna do is, if you have a blue building, you can activate your blue buildings. Alright, if you don't have any, well, I guess you're skipping that phase. Alright, let's take a second here to talk about buildings. So to activate a building, what you're gonna do is take a coin from your personal supply and put on top of the building to activate its power. This signifies 2 things: A, that you've used that building and you can't use it again for the round, and you're paying for that building. There you go. So remember, you're using green ones during phase 1, yellow ones during phase 2, and blue ones during phase 3. So the green ones deal mostly with getting more cards, or getting a better hand so that you're more prepped for phase 2. So whenever you see these symbols indicated, so the 1 here indicates take a card from the leftover stack that was there. And remember, there will always be 1 stack left over after everyone's drafted their stack, or you take 3 cards off the top of the deck. Okay, this symbol means you increase your hand size. Alright, so your starting hand size is 7. For each one of these, you're going to increase it, so 8, then 9, 10, so on and so on. There is a +2 actually for a level 4. Now let's go to the yellow buildings here. These ones deal mostly with when you're playing your cards, you can sort of manipulate them in a specific way. So start with the most powerful one here. You can convert 1 card into 2 of any other type. So for example, if I didn't want to play Venetia cards, I can turn this 1 Venetia card into 2 Doge cards, for example. The wild one, when I activate it, I can add a +1 to the current cards that I'm playing. So for example, if I play 1 Venetia card, it's technically 2 Venetia cards. The level 2 is very similar to level 4. I can convert 1 card into another card. And the 1 is the most complicated one. So what this one allows you to do is 2 things. The first thing is, when you activate it, you actually don't play your cards at that moment. Everyone else is going to play their cards. Okay, this is a great way to, if you're playing your cards early in the resolution, you'll see what everyone else is playing before deciding whether you want to play your jokers and so on and so on. Okay, so that's what the little pause symbol here means. So if you're first to play, you activate this building, then second and third player will have to play their cards first, and then you can decide, okay, maybe I'll use my jokers now so I can win the total, and that's when you'll play your cards. All right, the second bonus, you actually get the coin back from the general supply and put it back into your personal supply. Okay, so the coin that you put on, you'll just get it back. All right, next we're going to talk about the blue buildings, and these ones are at the end of every single round you'll activate them, so they'll just give you some end round bonuses here. So whenever you see the symbol here in purple, that's victory points, so this is straight up 3 points. The level 2 building here gives you 1 point, and you get to take a councilman from the general supply and add it to your personal supply. Just like the gondola cards, if you run out of councilman here, you'll just replace it with a point, so you can actually get 2 points from this tile. Alright, one of the most complicated ones here, this is advancement on the Doge track. You're going to move up the amount of spaces equal to your current rank on the Doge track. So if you're 5th on the Doge track, you'll move up 5 spots, but if you're 1st, you'll only move up 1 spot. And the last one to talk about is the free upgrade. Alright, so by activating this building, what you're going to do is return any building in your tableau back to the general supply and upgrade to another level 1 higher. You can take any other color as well. You don't have to take the same color. For example, I could return this level 1 and take a level 2 green, for example, or a level 2 yellow. Any building that you take or exchange, you can't activate this round. So I can't exchange a yellow for a blue and then activate that blue building because we're in the phase 3. You'll have to activate it in the following turn. All right, those are all the buildings and how to activate them. Just a couple of clarifications when it comes to buildings. You do only have a hard limit of 7 buildings. So if you ever hit your max limit, you have to return a building back to the general supply to replace it with something else. And second rule for buildings, if you ever have to build more than 4 or get a bonus where it'll give you more than a value of 4 building, what you do first is grab a level 4 building, add it to your personal supply, and then the remaining value you can take from another stack of buildings. So for example, if I had 7 building cards and I'm gonna take buildings to put in my personal supply, I would take a 4 first, add it to my board, and then add a 3 afterwards. Alright, and finally we get to the scoring. So before we get to end game scoring, there's only one thing you really need to track on the game board during the game, okay? And that's the district bonuses here. So you have 1 for blue and 1 for orange. The way this works is the first player to get a councilman in each of the 3 colored region that match that color will score the bonus. Okay, so let's say red was the first one to get a councilman in all 3 orange districts. They will score the 5 points. You'll flip it over saying that now it has been scored. All right, you'll do that for the both districts. Okay. If it happens at the same time during the same resolution of cards, well then you'll both score 5 points and then you'll flip it over. So this usually will happen during the Venetia placements. You all place in sector 1, let's just say, and they're gonna complete the district bonus. Well then you'll all score 5 points. Okay, but after scoring, remember you flip over the tile to signify that it's been scored already, and you'll move up on the point track. Okay, and now that brings us to endgame scoring. So you're gonna always score 3 things during endgame. So the first thing what every player is gonna do is you're gonna look at your personal supply. You're gonna add your coins plus your councilman in your personal supply. Divide that by 2, round it up, and you'll add that in points. So for example here, I have 7 divided by 2 rounded up is 4. So I'm gonna give myself 4 points on the point track. The second thing you're gonna do is you're going to calculate the building cost of all your buildings and get that many points. So here I'll get 4 plus 3 plus 1, that's 8. I'll get 8 points on the point track. And finally what we're going to do after all the players have calculated that is we're going to score each district at a time. Okay, you could go in numbered order or go in any order, it doesn't really matter. And the way each district scores is the first person, so the person who has the most councilmen in that district, will score as many points as the numbers attached to that district. So we're going to be filling up the board with bridges and gondolas. So for example here, this district 3 has a 4, a 6, a 1, and a 1. So that's 12 points. So green, because they have the most councilmen in sector 3, will score 12 points. Now the person in second, so let's say it's red, would score half that much divided by 2. Well, half that much is divided by 2. And rounded down, so they would score 6 points, and then the third place will get half of that rounded down, so they would get 3 points. Okay, for any ties, remember to look at the Doge track. You must have at least 1 councilman in that region to score. So for example, if yellow wasn't there, they wouldn't score the 3rd place bonus because they don't even have 1 token in there. And that's what you're going to do for every region. After you score a region, just flip the token onto the other side to signify that you've scored it. That's why you can go in any order. And then you'll just go district to district to score. And you'll see at the end of the game who has the most points. And there you go. Those are all the rules to Rialto. Click on the link below to go to my playthrough. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel. We'll see you in the next one. Later.